Let's draw 6 pen sketchbook portraits while we chat about different ways of approaching improvement and practice in your art journey. In the art world, there's a lot of emphasis on how the more you practice drawing, preferably every day, the better you'll get. While this is true to some extent, I think there is more that goes into improving than that, which is worth taking into account and considering. For the sketchbook portraits in this video, I decided to challenge myself to practice drawing using the loomis method. My goal was to draw at least one portrait a day until I came up with an idea for my next painting. For the first portrait, I followed a tutorial from the channel One Pencil Drawing. Don't hesitate to use tutorials no matter what level you are in your art journey. I was a bit rusty on using the loomis method, and watching a tutorial from the start made me more sure of myself and avoided frustration down the road. If you ever come across a point in your art journey where you don't feel like making a big painting, or you can't seem to figure out what to paint, I usually take this as a sign to open my sketchbook and go back to refining my skills. On the next portrait, I took a reference photo from Pinterest and drew it using the same method that I learned from the tutorial. I drew both of these portraits with only a ballpoint pen. While I'm happy with how they turned out, I would have liked to be able to erase and adjust some minor details. On the second day of this portrait drawing challenge, I really didn't want to draw, but I forced myself. I tried following another one pencil drawing tutorial, but this time it wasn't really working for some reason. I was getting frustrated, and honestly, I really just didn't want to draw. I was like, well, maybe it's the reference photo that's the problem, and so I gave up on that portrait and pulled up another reference photo that was on my phone and tried to draw it. Still though, I wasn't enjoying myself, and I tried to finish it as soon as possible. This kind of showed me that forcing yourself to draw when you don't want to doesn't really get you good results. To cheer myself up, I went for a walk along the beach to clear my mind and recharge. While I was walking, I was reflecting, and I started to think about how creating art is a very human experience. Just like anything human, it also involves a lot of layers and isn't ever perfect. Especially if you take pride in your drawings and if you are someone who is very creative, I think it's easy and common to fall into the habit of pressuring yourself and treating yourself and this talent of yours creating like a machine. You end up judging whether a day was productive for your art journey or not, depending on how much art you produced or how long you worked on your drawing or painting. The thing about creating art though is, like an onion, there are so many layers that make up the whole. There is so much more that goes into it before you even pick up a pencil. And there is so much more to it than literally drawing or painting your artwork. I'm talking about the stuff that isn't really visible and is therefore often overlooked as a priority. And that is inspiration. And I don't mean the inspiration that makes you want to draw in the first place. I mean all that information that your brain filters through and stores daily that eventually adds up and makes you come up with an idea. Personally, there are so many ideas that I have come up with for my art that came from something completely unrelated to it, like my love for history or a book that I'm reading, or certain emotions or eras in my life that I've been thinking about. To truly improve the most effectively in your art, I think it's important to focus on nurturing your inspiration in addition to practicing, because I think they go hand in hand. On the second portrait of the third day, I was struggling to draw a front-facing portrait. I realized it was because I didn't yet have a polished system on how to draw a face from the front. This was a small gap in my knowledge that I came face to face with through this challenge. You will see me revisit this portrait later. Something else I realized I wanted to work on was my shading. Just practicing without thought or intention gets tedious and unpleasant, making you more likely to give up entirely. Just relying on inspiration and never practicing also most likely won't get you very far. After this realization, I went back to drawing with a new mindset. Drawing every day was no longer the goal. Instead, I would approach my art intentionally by looking at my previous drawings and seeing what could need some improvement. I would draw every portrait with a certain aspect in mind that I wanted to focus on. At the same time, whenever I would do unrelated activities to recharge, I would also consider it as part of my art practice and therefore necessary. On the fourth day, I chose to draw this reference photo because I thought the woman had a unique face shape that I wanted to try and capture. I tried drawing in the sketch with pencil and then drawing in the details with a ballpoint pen. You might have noticed how the lighting is changing drastically throughout this video, and that is because I'm drawing in different places throughout my home. I think a lot of times we push off starting something because we think we don't yet have the perfect setting, the perfect supplies, or the perfect amount of energy. Something that life has taught me is that time passes anyways. Why wait for perfection to come, which is entirely theoretical, when you can just start now? That's what I was feeling with this portrait drawing challenge. I was putting it off and I had so many excuses as to why not to start. But I did, and I think it was worth it. I actually started this YouTube channel drawing from the floor because I didn't yet have a set space where I could create. I can't say everything is perfect all the time now, 2 years later. However, I'm very grateful that I took the leap to start then and for this opportunity to share my art and thoughts in these videos and possibly help others through their art journeys alongside me. I want to thank every single one of you here for your support. I love reading all your comments, and your words of encouragement really motivate me to continue to push through and keep making these videos. Thank you. I personally don't really like how this portrait turned out because I think the pen kind of gave it a certain harshness. I learned a lot though, which makes it a win. I then tried revisiting that portrait again from before, but I just didn't feel like working on it, so I moved on to another portrait, which I'm happy with. After drawing the last portrait, I spontaneously took another look at my Pinterest page to try and pick a reference photo to make a bigger painting. Where before this challenge I couldn't find anything that spoke to me, now I easily picked out this reference photo. Why? Well, all of a sudden I realized that I really like it. Maybe it's a culmination of so many other things that my brain has been sorting through lately under the surface that has influenced this inspiration. While practicing is essential to improving in your art journey, it's only half the puzzle. Drawing every day isn't for everyone, and that's okay. To improve in your art more effectively, in addition to actively creating, expose yourself outside of your art sphere, because you never know what could randomly spark your interest. There is so much more to art than just drawing. If anything in this video was helpful and speaks to you, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.